So this is the video on beta brainwaves. And again, we're studying these brainwave patterns for a specific reason. We're trying to apply them to the peaceful self process and to our mastery of these brainwave states so that we can expand our consciousness and recognize who we are as the peaceful self. What are brainwaves? In general, your brain emits electrical pulses which are measured per second, and these pulses are measured by an EEG, an electroencephalogram. And as these cycles per second, CPS, speed up or slow down, the rate of your thoughts also speed up or slow down along with variations in your mood. So understanding what these brainwave states are and how to master them helps us know where we're at consciously, choose them consciously, and get the benefits consciously from them. There are 5 types of brainwaves in general. Beta, which is what we're going to study mostly in this video, which is about 13 to 30 cycles per second. And here we are busily engaged in activities as well as in active thought and active conversation with others. Alpha, which is 8 to 12 cycles per second, is when we're in a more dreamy type of state. We're relaxed. We may be doing a mindfulness meditation. We're more visualizing, imagining. Theta, which is only 4 to 7 cycles per second, is when we're drowsy. It's that place where we're drifting off into sleep. We're a little bit awake, so we kind of know that we're not asleep yet, but we're pretty much headed into sleep. It's also a state that can be accessed during deep meditation and also during lucid dreaming, and it's activated in the dream state as well. Delta, which is where basically we're asleep, 3 to 5 cycles per second. We're not dreaming, and this can be accessed in deep levels of meditation, and there are people that actually know how to be conscious within Delta. So paradoxically, they're asleep but awake, and this is related to states of samadhi. And then the most recent brainwave to be discovered, Gamma, where we are in that state of hyper-learning, but in a specific way, 31 to 120 cycles per second. Even though the mind is learning and processing very fast and is super creative, it's doing it in a way that is in the flow or in the zone. In some ways, it almost seems thoughtless, even though a lot of thought is happening. It's also the state that we reach when we are exercising compassion and empathy for others. But let's talk a little bit more about beta in this video. The benefits of beta. Beta brainwaves are active, as we said, during normal waking consciousness primarily, when your attention is directed towards cognitive tasks and the outside world. So every brainwave is important, and what we're trying to learn is how to consciously choose which brainwave state we want to be in. So if we have to get a lot done throughout the day, beta is the place where we want to be. Or if we want to apply our spiritual practice, what we've spent time learning and meditating on, beta is the place to go and apply it. Beta helps you be more alert and attentive, helps you become more capable of thinking rapidly. We use beta to help us solve problems and make decisions. Now we can enter into theta or alpha and meditate as a way to solve those problems, but in terms of the implementation of them, beta is the best brainwave to be in. When we're in beta, we tend to be more socially outgoing, so if we become way too contemplative, we may need to switch it out and implement what we're learning, our insights, by getting out there in the world and seeing how we're actually doing. When we're in beta, we're more skilled in debating and sharing our ideas, like lawyers, talk show hosts, radio announcers, or I once was at a Tibetan Buddhist debate practice, and you see those vigorous debates regarding a sort of analytic kind of meditation practice that helps you reason more deeply. Beta helps us to hold interesting and stimulating conversations better. Why? Because the brain is more awake and we're better able to access thoughts as we need them and present them in ways that are perhaps more insightful. Beta is good if we need to take a test. Beta helps us get more excited and more full of energy. So if we become too tamasic, too lethargic by being in an alpha or theta state, we may need to switch out of it and head into beta. Beta also helps us turn our anxiety or fear into constructive action. It goes into hyperdrive when we are, let's say, challenged by something. Let's say we're driving and suddenly the car starts to spin out of control. Beta helps us move it more rapidly back into control. And beta helps us be less depressed and more motivated. There are different types of beta brainwave states, and these are not talked about in the other brainwaves. I have not found research where alpha, theta, delta, and gamma are broken up into different types, but I've found it with beta, so let's mention some of them here. So beta brainwaves are further divided into 3 bands. There's low beta, beta 1, 13 to 15, which is similar to musing with thought in a kind of fast idle. So we're not really meditating in an alpha kind of way where we're spacing out. We're more just kind of sorting out those thoughts. Then there's regular beta, where we are more focused, interested, and engaged in whatever it is that we're doing. And high beta, which emerges when we enter into highly complex thought and we're trying to integrate new experiences. Or perhaps we're anxious or excited and we need to focus more and integrate what it is that we're processing in the way of many different thoughts and how to get them all moving in one direction, let's say. What are some activities that help produce more beta? Well, if we want to activate beta, then we can focus, analyze, perform calculations, solve puzzles. That'll get our brains geared up more. We can especially solve math problems, conduct research, write articles. Or we can engage in a lively conversation or debate with somebody. If we're spiritually motivated, perhaps we can test our spiritual ideas by debating them out with others, comparing different traditions, comparing different experiences. We have to keep an open mind to be able to do that. So that's really important. We can get more active in our external environment. We can get more into some karma yoga, where we're moving out into the world in service. We can exercise at a brisk clip or do some aerobics. We can play a high-intensity video game. We can engage in a yoga practice that is more focused or aerobic-like a power yoga. Or, not at all the best choices, we also activate beta by drinking coffee, caffeine, taking energy drinks, or stimulants. Again, not the best way, but it is a way to get more beta in our lives. One thing you might take away from this list is if you do drink too much coffee, caffeine, energy drinks, or taking stimulants, you can choose for some of the healthier ways to activate beta that are mentioned in this list as well. Now, there is such a thing as too much beta. When we have too much beta activated, we become too stressed, nervous, excited, or anxious. So one of the things you can start to teach yourself is, if you are feeling stressed out, too many thoughts coming into your head, you don't know how to sort them out, you can simply ask yourself, have I got too much beta brainwave states going at this time? You can even get a headband, I have one, where you can put it on and see what's going on in terms of which brainwave state that you're in. It is important to remember that staying at beta for too long is not a good way to be productive. A lot of people think if I just push harder, study longer, think harder, process more, I'm going to be more productive. And actually the opposite is true. It can stress you out too much, fatigue your brain, make you irritable, and ironically, you make more mistakes. In yoga terms, you're becoming too rajistic. The key, paradoxically, is to relax, to go from beta to alpha, and maybe even into theta, or maybe even all the way into delta, to help balance your brainwave state out. Remember, we're trying to learn how to consciously work with these brainwave states. We can also have too little beta. Maybe we've got some challenges in front of us and we need to face them, and instead of doing that, we're avoiding them. When we have too little beta, we tend to drift off. We have trouble paying attention. We lack focus. We get more depressed or bored. We can't think very well. We're procrastinating. So if we're discovering that we're in this space, and let's say we can't gear up to take a test, well, maybe we can take a brisk walk. Maybe we can distract ourselves by playing some short games that are solving puzzles. For example, there's a mahjong matching game that I have free on my laptop that I might go do real quick if I've been meditating too long and I need to stimulate my brain real quick. In yoga terms, you become too tamasic when you have too little beta, which is equivalent to being listless and unmotivated. Now, you do see this with people that can get into spiritual practices. They're perhaps meditating too much, studying ideas that they have to contemplate and meditate on too much. They're not practicing it. It's important to walk the talk, to take a little bit and then go apply it. Otherwise, you get not only mental indigestion, you can get tamasic, you can get in too much of a theta and alpha mode, and you're not really applying what you're learning in the world, and you're actually getting behind and not ahead in your spiritual practice. The key is to activate more beta through one of the previous suggestions in this video. So that concludes the video on beta. It's a very brief summary. That's okay. It's just meant to get you interested and then go do some research and practice on your own. And if you want to learn more about me and the Peaceful Self process, here's a little bit about who I am and how to reach me in the next slide in this video.